debating, going toe to toe. No holding back, I'm speaking the facts. Let me introduce you to the dopest show. NerdyD and Milwaukee Mike, bringing the energy. If you a fan of wrestling, and especially WWE, this is the Casual Wrestling Show. Casual Wrestling Show. We got opinions, we letting them know. Casual Wrestling Show. Hey, ain't no holding back.
What's up, guys? This is the Casual Wrestling Community Show. I am one of your hosts, the Notorious NerdyD, alongside my co-host, Milwaukee Mike. We were about to break down how do we fix Seth Rollins. Did Candice LeRae go too far this week? And did Triple H get the Intercontinental Championship title match right at WrestleMania? But first, 35 minutes on the clock. Let's break it down for all the casuals, Mike. I'll start off this week. There was an interview floating around, Mike, where Daniel Bryan says that Vince McMahon asked him what AEW did that WWE didn't do well. Bryan went on to say that he watched 6 straight weeks of AEW programming and reported back to Vince McMahon with, "There's a lot." Mike, in your opinion, what can WWE take away from AEW that would improve the WWE product?
You know, I've given this thought, and I don't think there's a lot that you could really pull. And I know, you know, people are going to come for me, oh, you're a WWE stan. I get it. But I guess there are a couple things, right? I do like how they have the special shows from time to time where they kind of make an emphasis on that specific week and kind of building up toward it. And it's not a pay-per-view for them. It's just kind of like a special, like I know winter's coming, and I know they've had a couple different ones over the years. I think WWE can kind of maybe do that, and I think you've seen it recently with the New Year's show that they had, and they had a couple of them in the last year or so. But I do like that concept. I think another thing for me is the mid card titles, right? Especially for the women. I know AEW has a mid card title for their women. I think WWE could definitely benefit from that with the amount of women that they had on their roster now. So I think you could go there. Outside of that, man, it's really hard to kind of pick and choose. I mean, production-wise, I think WWE is head and shoulders above AEW. You know, the pay-per-view format, I think, is more suited towards the wrestling fan with WWE instead of having to pay $50 for, you know, essentially 3 hours of television. So, you know, whatever Daniel Bryan saw remains to be seen, I guess. But, you know, I guess that's my point of view.
So I'll be honest with you. When I sent this question to you, I had every intention in the world of finding something. And kind of like you, I went down every list in my brain trying to figure out what WWE could do better. And the problem is, I don't think there's one particular thing that AEW does well enough that WWE should adopt it into their programming. Like, I've always kind of liked that AEW kept records of superstars, right? But they don't use it correctly. They just do. It's a novelty, kind of just a pretty thing to put up on the page. But they never really make sense or use it. I wish WWE would adopt kind of the UFC style of ranking, where they're transparent about, like, look, if the number one guy gets too many shots at the title, we move to number 2 and move to number 3. But I would like a system that kind of showed who is where at what point, so we know based on each title kind of who's in the mix for those things. I mean, from a casual standpoint, I can point out the things that WWE definitely doesn't want to lean into, like the overuse of blood in every match. In AEW, I don't think WWE wants to lean into that. I don't think that WWE wants to get into the kind of mudslinging war that AEW likes, where they go on TV every week and they talk shit about the other company. And I don't think WWE wants to get into these overly acrobatic, super dangerous matches that AEW features on every pay-per-view. I hate the IWC argument that, you know, they try to make, where they tell us that WWE is sports entertainment and AEW is sports. It's real wrestling, right? No, one company is just better at sports entertainment than the other, and so you've made up a definition to kind of give yourself a bullshit excuse on why your guys aren't entertaining and don't know how to tell a story. You know, I could give the flip side to this. I think we both could see the scenario where there's a ton of things that AEW needs to take away from WWE, you know, as far as like utilizing their mainstream talent consistently. I cannot stand that I can tune into AEW 1 week and see 3 guys that I like and then not see them for 4 weeks with no reason. It's just they have this rotation of talent that doesn't make sense. Also, like, I've never appreciated a brand split more because I know what to expect when I turn on that show. I don't want to have to search around 3 different shows to find the AEW wrestler that I like. You know, I don't want to tune in on Friday 1 week, Saturday the next week, Wednesday the next week. I want to know that this guy is either going to be on Fridays or Monday. I really think AEW needs to separate out Ring of Honor. They need to make that a development like NXT, and they need to build homegrown talent and get recognizable characters that casual fans can kind of build a liking to. You keep signing new talent and you use them as bait and you go, here's this new guy. We got him from Japan or WWE. Come watch him. And then 3 weeks later, you can't find that guy anymore because Tony Khan's either got a new shiny toy. Maybe that guy over succeeded and the Young Bucks or Kenny Omega stepped in and said, let's slow this guy down. I just don't get it. I mean, look, Vince McMahon needed Bryan Danielson to do the research because Vince was getting out of touch. I think we can all agree with that towards the end of the Vince McMahon booking era, he was out of touch. And so I think he was at a loss and he turned to Bryan and goes, can you go figure this out? And I think Bryan's track record in moving over to AEW shows that whatever he saw doesn't do shit because Bryan Danielson's not in AEW setting the world on fire. You know, I think the worst thing that happened to AEW was the fact that Vince McMahon got tied up in all this bullshit that he's tied up in because it allowed Nick Khan and Triple H to slide in and do a lot of things that I think they've wanted to do for a long time. Triple H understands, I think, modern booking. We would agree on that. He's kind of got while like I don't love everything he does, I can understand everything he's doing right now. It may not be for me. We're going to talk about Sami Zayn later, but I understand exactly what you're doing and why you're doing what you're doing. And so, yeah, Triple H immediately modernized the look of Raw and SmackDown as far as production goes, as far as the booking goes. You know, it's hard for me to argue right now that AEW is even in the same atmosphere, same universe as WWE anymore. There's a clear definition between the two, and I don't think there's anything that I would cross over if I was WWE. I would honestly at this point act like they don't exist.
Yeah, I guess I would just add, I guess one thing that I can give Tony Khan credit for is that he does kind of listen to like what dream matches fans do want, and he does kind of construct them in a way. And, you know, I guess for me, I found myself wanting to see a couple matches in WWE that we don't necessarily get the trigger pulled on. So I guess maybe that's one thing, but I mean, that's kind of nitpicking at this point.
And that's what I was going to ask you is, sometimes I think he pulls the trigger too early is my problem with Tony Khan, in that I think Triple H probably hears everything that everybody's saying and he goes, you want Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair, but not yet. That's a match that is going to need to probably own next year's WrestleMania. That's probably the main event, the big one. But why overshadow that this year with Roman and Cody or something like that? So I agree. It's a little bit frustrating that it does feel like Triple H kind of keeps things in his back pocket. But once again, it's one of those things where I go, he's got to sell the product. And I think that, you know, he looks and he goes, I got 6 main events lined up here that I can knock out over the next 6 months and be perfectly fine.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, what you got for me?
So, watching Monday Night Raw last night, I noticed that the fan reaction for Seth Rollins has gone a little stale. And I guess my question to you would be, do you think Seth Rollins needs a refresh after WrestleMania? And if so, how do you go about that?
So as weird as this is going to sound, I think that Seth Rollins is the safest character on the Monday Night Raw roster. He's kind of found his lane. He's hit cruise control week in and week out. It's the same exact thing. The same, you know, the crowd reactions, kind of this. While it may be less, they're still singing. They're doing the same thing. I'll tell you, since the beginning, I've never understood the amount of love and attention he gets from casuals and IWC. I think I understand the casual reaction, but the IWC tends to like him a little bit more than I think they would. I think Seth Rollins is kind of goofy. I think he comes off as an over the top. I can't ever really take him serious, even as a champion. I think he tends to look for cheap pops like Becky Lynch does. I think that he appeals to kind of the immature boy, young boy fan base. He's got a lot of these like goofy catchphrases. Like, I think he thought Diarrhea Dwayne like set the world on fire. And I think The Rock was probably like, oh, fuck, what are we doing here, guy? Like, we're trying to appeal to grown men and kids, but Diarrhea Dwayne, and yeah, the crowd chants it because the crowd will chant anything. But to me, I get it. He's not for me. Like, maybe he's for a different demographic of wrestling fans, but I think he sees himself as like a trendsetter. And there's a part of the audience, I think, who just sees him in stupid outfits, right? We go, all right, what's Seth wearing this time? And like in this moment, I wish he was a little more serious. Like in this, like I wish when he came out to see The Rock, we tone it down just a little bit. And I get he's going to be Seth Rollins. He's going to do what he does. I there's a part of me that wants Seth Rollins to be more serious. And I understand he's like top 5 in the ring as far as pure wrestling goes, but I don't know that casual fans pick up on that all the time. I think you have to dig deeper to get to that. So for Seth Rollins post WrestleMania, for me, I think he's got to get a little more serious. I think he's got to kind of tighten it up. I think we got to cut back on the goofy outfits, cut back on the lace and some of those things like that. And when Seth Rollins is a natural heel, to me, he is the best in the business. It's when they force him to walk this weird line where he has to play up to the babyface reaction, but he also still has heel antics. That's when, to me, he comes off as goofy.
Yeah. So I guess with Seth Rollins, for me, you just alluded to it. I think the line is very blurred with him between heel and babyface. And I think that's the first issue that we have. Second issue we have is we have to really determine if he's over from his song or if he's over from his character. I would argue right now it's his song. And, we're in sports entertainment, and that's entertaining, right? The fans can sing his song and he can go with it. And I think that's another issue that we have with Seth Rollins, because I'll revert back to this past Friday when he got serious with The Rock in the ring. And it's like, that's what you want to see. That's what I want. But then you step back and you're like, but he's got that goofy ass outfit on. So it's like, how do we perceive that? You know what I'm saying? It's very hard. So like you said, I think he does his best work when he's a heel. I think he can pull pieces from the different characters that he's had, but I wouldn't mind just focusing on more of it, just being a straight heel. So I'm wondering if after WrestleMania, if he does lose the tag match and he loses his championship, if it wouldn't be a bad idea for him to maybe go away for like a couple weeks, kind of get our minds off of him, and then he'll come back and it's just kind of more of a serious flow. The outfits, I don't know, man. I guess you could keep doing them. Maybe tame them down a little bit. I have no idea. It's just, for me, I want to lose the flamboyant act, and I just want a straight, like, serious act Seth Rollins. And maybe him losing everything at WrestleMania will get us there. I'm not sure. Yeah,
it almost feels like it has to, right? Because how do you continue the kind of goofy shit if you lose? And I'm hoping he loses, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I would like a reset. And I'm the same. A lot of the things I say about Seth Rollins, I think I double that sentiment for Becky Lynch. I think they would both benefit from 2 or 3 months away from the ring to just kind of refresh. Let us miss you a little bit and then come back and we'll probably be ready. And then, like, Becky has done it. If you haven't noticed, Becky has toned down her character. She, we don't have all the still got cool outfits and stuff like that, but we've toned it down and we're back more into the man persona. And I think Seth's just got to kind of follow, and maybe that's the plan. Maybe it is.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, the IWC is outraged right now about Candice LeRae blurring the lines using Maxine's dead brother in a segment on Monday Night Raw. How do you feel about wrestling intertwining real life storylines into kayfabe?
I mean, obviously, first things first, this had to be approved. I mean, this is not just off the top, let me attack this woman. I mean, they talked about it. This was approved. And obviously, with Candice saying it, she got a lot of backlash for it. And people are wondering why they allowed her to do that. I can break it down for you. She's looking for heel heat. I mean, that's how you do it. I mean, that's how it's always been done. You dig in, you find something that's maybe a little personal, you poke at it, and you get a reaction. And clearly, they're trying to make Candice LeRae a heel. And as long as it's approved, I'm game for it, man.
Look, the IWC is now in this phase where they're going to find something after every episode of Raw or SmackDown to bitch about. I think that's where we are right now. And I'm with you 100%. Like, what do you want her to do? She's been extremely uninteresting. For somebody who I thought when she came to the roster, I thought, Candice LeRae could be interesting. She's been uninteresting. And all of a sudden she does something extremely interesting. And now everybody's crying and bitching about it. What I don't like is this is the same thing that everybody has done to Cody Rhodes since he came back. Everybody has brought up Dusty Rhodes, and that's not a problem. But the minute you mention someone's dead brother, we have an issue. And like you said, you think there's any world where this was not discussed? Like, we talked about this a week or two ago about Maxine being maybe the most likable character on the roster, in the ring, and probably in the locker room. I'm guessing Candice 2 or 3 times asked, "Are you sure? You're okay?" Right. Once this is out on TV, this is going to be a thing. And I'm sure this is this is funny. We talked about this when we said it's not a big deal to yell, "You suck." You could do one of 2 things with it. You can do like Roman Reigns and you can embrace it, or you can run to the back and cry. Obviously, Maxine said, I'm going to use this. Mm-hmm. You guys want to say I suck? Let's turn it into a story. And whoever's idea it was, they came to her and she said, yeah, let's do it. Let's show that I suck. Let's show that I'm sensitive. Let's talk shit. And let's build a story. And it's just going to make her more likable. That's all it's going to do. And Candice shot up my radar because I thought that's heel work. That's good heel work. Yeah. My problem with the IWC is this is just Christian. This is just AEW Christian. That's all this is. Yeah. I would feel better if the IWC was screaming, Candice is ripping off Christian. Not that she went out of bounds or something. Like, I don't get it. Christian made a resurgence of his career by doing this. What is wrong? I don't understand these kind of things. I don't like these white knights on Twitter and X that kind of make an issue. And at first, I wanted to blame this on the IWC going, well, AEW is allowed to do things that WWE is not allowed to do, but I don't think it's an AEW WWE issue. I think these white knights on Twitter, I think they just don't want women's wrestlers to do anything like this. And I think that's the complete opposite of what they try to portray as being these heroes. It's like, it's okay when Christian does it. It's okay when MJF does it. It's okay when we do it to Cody Rhodes. But when 2 women get in the ring and cut a high level, it worked. It was extremely successful. If people are upset, that means they nailed exactly what they want to do. And to villainize Candice for doing what male counterparts do on a nightly basis, they're the bullshit. These people who want to call bullshit, they're the problem. Like, Maxine is not frail and helpless. She obviously is going to make the most of this and come out on top. The truth is, like, the IWC, I don't understand. Like, they almost enjoy a crippled women's division. And I've never will understand that. They want to talk shit, bash it, say it's underutilized. And then when someone like Candice steps up and goes, all right, I'm going to give you something. Then they, whoa. You went too far. You're being a nasty heel. Oh, good. Good job, Candice. Like, finally, we have, like, in the women's division, Mike, who is the best heel?
Oh, man. I mean, it's hard to find right now because there's a lot of blurred lines. So,
yeah. I mean, none of them are willing to go that deep into being like an MJF, a Christian. So cool. If that's the role Candice is going to take, her fucking value is going to skyrocket. Watch. She'll be a big thing if she continues it, if she lays into this.
Oh, yeah.
All right, what you got?
Yeah, so last night during the gauntlet match, I was thinking, has the IC title become one of the more important titles in WWE? And with that, do you agree with the results of the gauntlet match last night?
So here's the thing. I think I said this last week, and I saw it ruffled a couple feathers of people on the internet. But I still, no matter what, no matter how long Gunther holds this title, IC title is still mid-card. It's still mid-card. Like, we can go, this is prestigious. He's making it bigger, but he's just making a bigger mid-card title. And my evidence for that is over 640 days, you have to look at who has challenged for this title. What are the names of people that he's had to defend against? Madcap Moss, he's gone. He's gone from the company, right? Riddle, gone from the company. Miz, that's your statue mid-card guy. Ricochet, another mid-card solid guy. Rey Mysterio, main event guy, but a little past his prime. That's probably one of his better defenses. Braun Strowman, missing. Kofi Kingston, mid-card guy. Sheamus, you could argue that's a good defense, right? Shinsuke, another mid-card guy. Mustafa Ali, gone. Xavier Woods, a guy who should be main event, but is in WWE's eyes mid-card. Ciampa, Gable, Jey Uso, Bronson Reed. The only one that I would accept an argument for is going to be Drew McIntyre. That's the main event guy. But outside of that, I can't find the main event, defense in there. For me to elevate a title to be on the same level as what we're calling the World Heavyweight Championship, the WWE Undisputed title, I got to see names like Seth Rollins. I got to see names like Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, Kevin Owens, Bobby Lashley, even throw a John Cena in there. I have to see you defend against those kind of guys. If we're going to invest and call this a main level title, I need one or two of those names on that list. Gunther's made the title feel relevant, but he's made the mid-card title feel relevant. I don't think that he's elevated it higher than the World Heavyweight Championship, higher than the WWE title. I still think there's a hierarchy to the titles. It goes Roman, Seth, Gunther, Logan. That's kind of the way I feel those belts play out. And so I that's kind of how I feel about that. Now, on the results from Monday, it's a tad predictable, I think, but that's kind of good booking at this point because they've led into this. Sami Zayn needs this, and this was his last opportunity. So good for him. I like it. I don't think Gable's out of the picture completely. I think we'll get his shoulders weren't down. So, we've talked about this. You said it a couple weeks ago. Gunther can't be in the ring with one person at WrestleMania, or if he is, he's retaining. Yeah, there's no way Gunther walks into WrestleMania and one-on-one loses to Sami Zayn. So if it ends up being Sami and Gunther, then Gunther wins, right? If somehow this turns into a triple threat, because I think we're under the assumption now with the tag team title being a ladder match, that's not the plan here, which I still liked your idea better of this being the ladder match. But I think you think it ends up Sami, Gunther, and Gable? Maybe one more person, fatal four-way? Or do you think they're going straight Sami and Gunther?
I feel like right now it's going to be Sami and Gunther. And the reason I say that is because post-match, they didn't have Gable freak out and react to my shoulders weren't down. And that's what makes me think, because if it was going to be a triple threat, you would want to see him kind of notice that his shoulders weren't down and complain right off the bat. Instead, he kind of conceded. He kind of got out of the way. It kind of makes me feel like this guy's defeated. So,
you think his daughter's crying?
Oh man,
that's the worst storyline. Then,
oh man, I in our Discord last night, I was just like, I'm laughing because of the way they had Gable lose. It's just like, why have all these vignettes?
Yeah,
just to have him lose. I didn't get it, man. But in terms of the IC title itself, obviously it's always been billed as a mid-card title. My only argument would be that I do think it's kind of a step above the World Heavyweight Championship at this moment, just because I feel like Seth Rollins' reign has gone stale. And the competition in which that Seth has kind of gone against, you can argue it's been similar with Gunther a little bit.
That's very true.
So right now, until the World Heavyweight title maybe goes to Drew or a CM Punk, I think they're kind of right neck and neck with each other. But I think you can always go back and say that the IC title will always kind of be billed as a mid-card title.
I'm with you. I'm trying to look up here because that's a very good point. I don't think I thought about who Seth is even. Jinder Mahal, I'm not going to make an argument. Finn Balor, not going to make an argument that that's any better than anything Shinsuke. So I like the argument. I mean, I agree with you. I think I just get built into my head that that's the old world heavyweight title, but I think you're right. I guess you could make an argument that as of right now, I think over time the world heavyweight title will regain its level, but I think you're right based on that. Is based on these names, Damian Priest, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, that's the same argument I just made, different title. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, last thing here, Mike. I saw an interesting meme on Facebook. Was posted in these crazy Facebook groups where like wild questions, but like they wanted to know who was the most overrated wrestler between Edge, Kurt Angle, Daniel Bryan, and Randy Orton. And I want to see where you go with this.
So I think straight away you take Randy Orton off the list.
That's exactly what I had on mine.
In the slightest. I mean, he's a top 5. We'll take him off the list.
What's going through this guy's mind when he makes this meme?
I have no idea, man. I have no idea. I think next I'd probably take Kurt Angle off the list. I'd probably go with him just because he's had some great matches. He had some great runs in WWE and outside of WWE as well. He's been successful too with different promotions. Mm-hmm. So it came down to Daniel Bryan and Edge. With Edge, I think he gets the nod over Daniel Bryan because he elevated tag team wrestling in the WWE. But then he also had a run where he got his own moniker of the Rated R Superstar. He kind of made Money in the Bank what it is. And, he's had a decent second career, I guess you would say, after retirement. With Daniel Bryan, he has the yes movement. And that run that he had through Mania where he was in the match with Batista and Randy Orton, I believe it was. That was fun. That was fun, man. But I don't get all the build that everybody in the IC gives to Daniel Bryan. And maybe it's just me being a casual, and if so, call me out on it. I think Daniel Bryan is a little bit more overrated in my opinion than Edge. So I would say Daniel Bryan would be my answer.
So we fell right in line on this because what I have here is immediately taking Randy Orton out of the conversation. I don't understand how I get so I can see the other three. I can make arguments for the other three on being overrated, right? With Randy Orton, there's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can say that puts him in the conversation. With Kurt Angle, the argument I would make, I'm not going to make it because he would be the second I immediately pulled off, is that 50% of his career wasn't in WWE. That a lot of what he did was in a company that is considered inferior. Everybody else on the list had a big run in WWE. Now, when Kurt was in WWE, he did his thing. So pulling him off, right? So it does come down to Edge and Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan. My problem is when I pulled up statistics, there's no comparison, right? Edge is a 4-time WWE champion, 7-time World Heavyweight champion, U.S. champion, 5-time Intercontinental champion, 12-time Tag Team champion, King of the Ring, Money in the Bank winner, 2-time Royal Rumble winner, and he's won, I think, the TNT title in AEW, right? Or if he hasn't won it, he's fought for it. So he's been involved in it, right? Then you go to Bryan Danielson, 4-time WWE champion. Like you said, the Yes Movement was a fun moment in time. But outside of that, he never was the guy. Didn't Sheamus beat him in 0.3 seconds at WrestleMania one year?
Yeah.
So 1-time World Heavyweight champion, 1-time Intercontinental champion, 1-time U.S. champion, and 2-time Tag Team champion and Money in the Bank winner. I'll make the argument Daniel Bryan may be one of the most overrated wrestlers in all of professional wrestling. When I really look at it, and then we talk about what he does, he's done absolutely nothing in AEW. And I know AEW fans are going to argue, well, he went over there for dream matches. Well, fuck you. That did nothing for your company. These dream matches. Great. Y'all get to, have alone time in your basement with Daniel Bryan and whoever he's wrestling. That's good for y'all. But it's not selling pay-per-views or anything like that. When I look back, outside of the Yes Movement, he is a little bit overrated, especially on this list of wrestlers. And I know that's going to piss the IWC off, but that's just the reality. One of these had to go, and that's the one that I see from outside that short window. I don't. It's Edge. To me, when I look at Edge, I start making the argument that he's like top 10 of all time. That's a hell of a resume. I think Edge, to me, Edge loses his credibility because of this last little jump to AEW. And I think there's this weird thing we do with Edge because he did have such a long break in between kind of the pinnacle of his career and his return. And he never was really what he was before the injury. Whereas, Daniel Bryan came back and he's kind of been Daniel Bryan, just more Daniel Bryan. But I'm going. I thought we were going to disagree on this, but no, it's Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan, whatever you want to call him.
When you break the careers down, it's hard to ignore.
All right, before we get out of here, we got about 5 minutes. What's happening on our WrestleMania card? There's been some toss-ups here, some shit shaking up. I've seen rumors of Bianca, Naomi, and Jade versus Kabuki Warriors and who was it?
Dakota Kai.
You think that's happening?
I like that idea.
I do too.
I really do.
I'm not mad at it.
Just because then you don't have to get 5 tag teams of mixed up women and we can, and I think there's some storyline behind it, obviously, with some history with Bianca and
definitely.
And so
definitely.
I could see, I'd be fine with that.
I don't know what it does for Tiffany though. With as hot as she's getting, she's got to be on the card somewhere.
You would think so, but I think she'd be fine if she's not though, because I really do think she's going to get a huge push here after Mania.
I do too. I just think you take the opportunity, even if it's a squash match against somebody, just early on the card.
It'll be interesting to see what they decide to do with her in particular. I'm not mad at the tag team ladder match. I'm not mad at that.
No, me either.
I think that's going to be a phenomenal match.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, obviously we don't know the teams yet, but that's going to be a banger. What else did we get so far? We got Jay and Jimmy confirmed now.
Yeah, which we were pretty confident on that.
All in all, so far with everything that's been announced, I mean, compared to the most recent WrestleManias, right? All of these matches have storyline behind them, man. This Mania, if they book the matches correctly, man, this could go down. This could go down as one of the best Manias ever, man. I agree. There's still some matches to be figured out, obviously, but man, I'm really looking forward to this, man.
There's no filler. There's no why did they just put that in there for time? In fact, we're talking about right now, is there going to be time for Tiffany Stratton? Is there going to be, because I'd love to see Braun Breaker and Tiffany Stratton on that card somewhere, but I don't know where you put them. It's filling out quickly. It looks like it's going to be LA Knight and AJ Styles straight up.
Yeah. Which there's a story there.
They teased the Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, which is what you've been calling, and I think they teased it with Randy almost hitting KO.
I kind of want to call my shot on that though.
Okay.
Hold
on. Okay.
I was in the Discord. What I could see happening is Logan versus Randy with KO being the special guest referee.
Interesting.
And I think you tie that with the new 2K game that came out with the referee mode.
Yeah, definitely.
Available. But then also the brass knuckles have affected both of those two. So you would have KO come in and be the referee and kind of enforce that the knuckles don't find their way back in. I think KSI can get involved during the match, and then we get a tag team in France between Kevin Owens.
Oh, interesting.
Randy. I think that could be a route.
I like it. I like it. Okay, I'm with you. I was messing around in the Discord talking about KSI and Logan, but there's no way KSI can't be in a match right now. He's got to train. Dude, he's funny, but he's not ready. Yeah, I mean it's coming to get, like you said, there's no filler. We don't even have that stupid celebrity match right now that we usually get. That's like doesn't make sense. I guess Logan's enough star power for them. Did you see Logan teasing for SummerSlam? Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle, LeBron James. Yeah, like all right.
All right, man. So that's August 3rd, right? And then
August 3rd.
We talked about
end of
this.
the month
And
the Bash in Berlin.
Yeah, that's crazy. So they are doing 2 in August. They're filling it up, man.
Yeah, and obviously, I hate when WWE does this, where they kind of put stuff ahead before things actually happen. Like Logan Paul being the headline of SummerSlam, like that almost makes you believe he's walking out of WrestleMania as the U.S. champion still.
I guess I didn't think about that. I hadn't processed that, but you're right.
Yeah, I mean
that means he's definitely here for at least through. Yeah, I guess you're right. He's more than like, and then you wonder, does KO turn on Randy in the match somehow? You get some wild stuff like that. All right, man, I'm with it. I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
You're gonna be there. You're gonna be live and corresponding from the building.
I'll get my credentials ready.
That's awesome, man. That is all the time we have this week for the Casual Wrestling Show. Make sure to like and share this episode as much as you can. As a member of the Casual Wrestling community, feel free to screen, record, and clip your favorite part of the show on any social media platform. As always, I am Nerdy D. That is Milwaukee Mike, and we will see you guys next week.
Hey, you better bring it if we debating going toe to toe. No holding back, I'm speaking the facts. Let me introduce you to the dopest show. Nerdy D and Milwaukee Mike, bringing the energy. If you a fan of wrestling and especially WWE, this is the Casual Wrestling Show.